Hello to all CENIMASTER lovers. Hope you enjoy watching. Let's get started. The story begins in Cuba with our hero, Mr. Lazy, living his life in ultimate comfort. All he wishes for in life is a bit of luck. Suddenly, Mr. Fatty emerges. After that, Mr. Fatty says to him, "How about we migrate to Miami?" But Mr. Lazy looks at him in confusion and says, "I'm comfortable here. In Miami, I'd have to work, and I think laziness is paradise." Suddenly, he caught something in his fishing net, but when they pulled the catch out of the water, it turned out to be a zombie. Without hesitation, Mr. Fatty grabbed his spear and struck the zombie in the head, finishing it off in seconds. They returned as if nothing happened, rowing calmly towards the shore, pretending they didn't just catch a zombie. Once they arrived, each went back to their crazy, normal life. Mr. Fatty chased a guy who owed him money, determined to collect it any way he could. Meanwhile, Mr. Lazy, as usual, decided to forget his troubles and helped an elderly woman enter her apartment. But the disaster was that the woman misunderstood the situation. After all this, the two went up to the roof, brought out the telescope, and started watching people enjoying their favorite hobby. But suddenly, Mr. Fatty saw his son, who was supposed to be studying, but caught him flirting with a girl. Mr. Fatty, shocked and angry, rushed down to distract him from the girl in a clever way, saying, "Come on, son, let's play ball." After a while, Mr. Lazy decided to visit his only daughter. Being a simple man, he didn't bother with complicated names. He just called her daughter, and that was it. As soon as he entered the house, it was clear his presence was not welcomed at all. Daughter completely refused to acknowledge she was the daughter of a man like Mr. Lazy. He tried to convince her to give him another chance, but she coldly replied, "You'll never change, and I'm planning to migrate to Miami and live my life far away." Mr. Lazy decided to grab a drink and get drunk on the roof. There, he found Mr. Fatty sitting, looking downcast. He asked him, "What's wrong? You look upset." Mr. Fatty replied sadly, "My son doesn't want to play ball with me anymore." But before they could dwell on their emotions, the world started to change. Mr. Lazy, Mr. Fatty, and their friend Handum found themselves in the town hall amidst a crowd of people. Suddenly, a government official appeared on stage, claiming there might be an outbreak, but everything was under control. Among the crowd was a drag queen named Julie and her massive boyfriend, King Kong. Suddenly, a fat zombie emerged from the crowd and began biting everyone around. Chaos erupted. People screamed, ran, and blood splattered everywhere. Mr. Lazy and his companions stood to the side, watching. Suddenly, King Kong collapsed after some blood splashed on him. The next day, the government appeared on the news confidently declaring, "There are no zombies. What happened was just a group of American-backed vandals." While the media misled the public, Mr. Lazy decided to visit his grandmother's house. But as soon as he entered, the grandfather jumped out of the darkness ready to attack. Luckily, Mr. Fatty and Handum arrived just in time. Mr. Fatty decided to end the grandmother in his favorite way, with the spear. But the problem was, instead of hitting the grandfather, he accidentally struck the grandmother, killing her. The grandfather, however, kept attacking relentlessly. Everyone stabbed him repeatedly, but she wouldn't go down. Mr. Lazy said, "This isn't a normal zombie. It looks like a demon possessed him." Suddenly, he decided to try something new. He grabbed a huge cross and attempted to perform an exorcism, but instead of casting out the spirit, he smashed the grandfather's head with the cross, scattering his brain everywhere. They began to believe that what was happening wasn't zombies, but state opponents. They decided to dispose of the bodies to avoid political troubles. While dragging the grandmother's body towards the elevator, the door closed, cutting her in half. Mr. Fatty looked at Mr. Lazy and said, "That saves us half the effort." As they tried to deal with the rest of the bodies, a zombie suddenly emerged from the trash can. Without hesitation, they started hitting it on the head with the trash lid. But suddenly, a body fell from an apartment window above them. They rushed to see what was going on, and upon entering the apartment, they found chaos. In the corner was a pretty girl named Curly, crying like a child, with strangely tangled hair. But there was no time to talk, as government news was playing everywhere, claiming that the opposition was funded by America and urging people to protest against them. The next day, thousands of people took to the streets to demonstrate against the so-called zombie opposition. Meanwhile, Mr. Lazy, Mr. Fatty, and Curly sat on the roof watching the protests. But as they walked down the street, they saw Handem trying to pull off some shady business to make money. It was clear he had entered an illegal trade. Before he could even make a profit, chaos erupted again. Zombies attacked the protesters in the middle of the demonstration. Amid the chaos, Mr. Lazy remembered he had a daughter. He decided to check on her at her house. When he arrived, he saw zombies increasing everywhere. He entered the house only to find that his mother-in-law had turned into a zombie. As soon as he approached the door, he discovered an entire street full of zombies waiting for him outside. So he decided to jump out of the window. Unfortunately, one of the zombies grabbed him and started pulling him down. At the last moment, daughter arrived. The zombies began climbing after them, but Mr. Lazy grabbed whatever was near him and started stabbing them quickly until they all fell down. After that, he took his daughter and brought her to Hindem to protect her. But as soon as the two looked at each other, strange looks began to exchange between them. Mr. Lazy, who understood the situation, decided to put an end to it. At the same time, by the sea, Mr. Fatty was riding a flotation device with Curly, whom decided to flee the country by any means. Around them was a large group trying to escape the country, but running in the water like an Olympic champion was, of course, Mr. Lazy. He kept chasing Mr. Fatty, trying to convince him to come back with him because he had a plan that would make them rich. In the middle of the conversation, suddenly, Curly fell off the flotation and started drowning. When they looked down into the water, they discovered a real catastrophe. An army of zombies was walking underwater. And as if that wasn't enough, Curly herself turned into a zombie. Before they could even try to understand what was happening, a shark appeared and swallowed her. They said, "Well, that means we need to go back immediately," Mr. Lazy said as he swam with all his might toward the shore. After they were saved, Mr. Lazy gathered Mr. Fatty and Hindem and told them, "I have a brilliant idea that will make us millionaires. We offer a zombie-killing service to people, but for a fee." The slogan of the service was, "Juan of the Dead. We kill your loved ones for you." And thus, the first zombie-killing business in the country was born. They started preparing their weapons for their great mission. Mr. Lazy's daughter, who was upset with their greed, she said to him, "When will you ever change?" But Mr. Lazy felt he had a chance to prove he had become a better person. Indeed, they began training survivors to face the zombies, teaching them how to use weapons. Finally, the time came for the team to embark on their first mission against the zombies. The team consisted of Mr. Lazy with his bat, Mr. Fatty, who carried 2 machetes. Hindem chose to face them with a baseball bat, smashing the heads of any zombie. King Kong, who had a problem with blood, decided to fight zombies with his eyes closed. The team started taking down zombies one by one, and everything was going perfectly until they looked at Mr. Fatty and found him casually walking down the street. The group looked at him in shock and said, "That's a human, not a zombie." But suddenly, the man Mr. Fatty hit got bitten by a zombie. At that moment, Mr. Fatty proudly said, "I knew he'd get bitten soon." Then Mr. Fatty killed a skinny man for no reason and said simply, "He owed me money from last month." Mr. Lazy and his team decided to travel around the city on bikes to kill zombies for customers. As they began moving, a helicopter crashed in the middle of the city square and exploded. Afterward, they reached a new client, a woman who owned a house and wanted to get rid of her tenants who had turned. Everything was going well until they saw a cockroach and screamed. The loud noise attracted the zombies in the apartment, and they started rushing toward them. Suddenly, the power went out, and everything became completely dark. The battle continued with shouting and blind fighting, and when the lights came back on, all the zombies were on the ground. But unfortunately, the house owner was also on the ground. They accidentally got rid of her. And so, their business became very famous, and the phones wouldn't stop ringing. Everyone wanted to get rid of their zombie loved ones as quickly as possible. The team started distributing flyers to every house to expand their business. While walking in the dark streets, suddenly, the army surrounded them and they took them in military vehicles. The army began recruiting anyone from the streets to fight the zombies because the soldiers themselves were falling. While handcuffed with a group of men, suddenly, one of them began to turn into a zombie and attacked them. The soldier guarding them tried to act but was immediately bitten. The prisoners seized the opportunity and stole the key from the soldier to unlock their handcuffs. Mr. Fatty, who didn't know how to shoot, grabbed the gun that had fallen from the soldier and accidentally shot the driver. The vehicle lost control, started flipping, and crashed onto the road. The next day, the group finally reached home, but in a terrible state. On the roof, Mr. Lazy saw zombies everywhere. His daughter was crushing zombies, lifted a zombie with muscles hitting it. Curly turned into a zombie and started attacking Mr. Lazy. He kept pushing her with his hands, and eventually shoved her to the edge of the roof. But there was a problem. Curly was still handcuffed to him. Daughter grabbed a bottle of oil and threw it to Hindem quickly. Hindem, who never expected this to be the way his life would end, enthusiastically began oiling the handcuffs, and finally, Curly was separated from him. She fell off the roof. Suddenly, a zombie appeared and devoured the government spokesperson live on air. At that moment, the group made their final decision. It was time to flee the country. They headed to the street and found a flashy red car, but there was a problem. None of them knew how to drive except Mr. Lazy. He reluctantly took the wheel and tried to get the car moving, but it was very slow. Daughter, who was so frustrated she couldn't bear it anymore, got out of the car and walked away. With no other choice, they decided to walk on foot and search for a safe shelter. After a long walk through the destruction, they found a tightly sealed door covered in blood. King Kong pushed the door with all his might, and it finally opened. In an instant, the monsters lunged at King Kong and dragged him inside. The group stood outside, unable to believe what was happening. Mr. Lazy looked at Mr. Fatty and said, "Shall we leave him?" Mr. Fatty thought for a moment and said, "Yeah, let's leave him. But where will he go now?" Mr. Lazy tried to go inside and save him, but it was too late. Mr. Lazy, who finally decided to act responsibly, looked at his daughter and said, "I've been a failure my whole life, but you're the only thing that truly matters to me." And so, the father and daughter reconciled. Suddenly, an army of zombies appeared and began surrounding them. Suddenly, a massive truck sped in, circling the zombies while dragging a long rope. In one swift motion, all the zombies' heads were cut off simultaneously. A mysterious man with a long beard emerged, speaking in a gruff voice. His name was Captain Skinny. Captain Skinny opened the door and shouted, "Get in quickly if you want to live." Without thinking, Mr. Lazy and daughter jumped into the car, escaping the hell they were in. After reaching the shelter, Mr. Lazy asked Captain Skinny, "What are these creatures exactly?" Captain Skinny replied, "They're zombies, people who died and came back to life." The group looked at each other, saying, "So the government was lying to us?" Before Captain Skinny could explain his plan to fight the zombies, Mr. Fatty decided to end his life for no reason. The man suddenly hit him with a hammer. Everyone stared at Mr. Fatty in utter shock. Mr. Lazy shouted, "Why did you kill the man?" Mr. Fatty, with complete indifference, replied, "His name was terrible anyway." After losing the last person with a plan, Mr. Fatty told Mr. Lazy, "Look, we need to modify the car so it can move on water and escape the country." But then came the shocking news. Mr. Fatty announced, "I've been bitten." Everyone was stunned, but Mr. Fatty continued, "I want to see the sunrise before I turn into a zombie." In a dramatic moment, he sat on the rooftop waiting for the sun to rise, ready to face his fate. Before his transformation, he says, "Mr. Lazy, I love you." Mr. Lazy stood there, confused. Mr. Fatty burst into laughter. Mr. Fatty awaited the moment he would officially turn into a fat zombie, while everyone else stood in suspense. Finally, they decided to gather all the necessary parts to convert the car into an amphibious vehicle. After hours of assembling, they successfully created the ultimate amphibious car. Now, Mr. Lazy and Mr. Fatty headed to the beach for their final showdown with the zombies. Mr. Lazy wielded his legendary paddle, smashing any zombie, while Mr. Fatty, now bitten, decided to take out only the skinny zombies. They continued taking down zombies one by one, finally piling their bodies on top of each other. Mr. Lazy stood victorious and let out an epic war cry. Meanwhile, Mr. Fatty prepared the amphibious car. They were ready to escape to the sea. But Mr. Lazy had one last thing to do. He saw a small child being attacked by a zombie. Without hesitation, he ran to save him. But the zombie grabbed a shovel from the ground, ready to fight. The night turned into an official wrestling match. Mr. Lazy grabbed another shovel, and the two engaged in a fierce battle. In the critical moment, Mr. Lazy used all his strength to shove the zombie into a metal pipe directly behind it. The match ended with a decisive victory for Mr. Lazy. After saving the child, he ran to the beach and headed toward the amphibious car to join the others. Mr. Lazy made his final decision. Standing by the car, he looked at everyone and said, "I'm not coming with you." Handem shouted, "Are you crazy?" Mr. Lazy replied, "I've spent my whole life as a lazy man, avoiding responsibilities. But this time, I'm not running away. I'm a survivor, and I'll remain a survivor." Suddenly, the car stopped. Then daughter and Mr. Fatty came down from it. They said, "We won't let you fight alone." Daughter raised the baseball bat and said, "We are one team. We'll finish the battle together." Everyone stood by Mr. Lazy as the last wave of zombies approached them. The final war begins, and the movie ends. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you in the next video.